Hello everyone, today I'm going to take you through the setup of a dedicated macro workspace complete with lighting arrangements. So stay tuned, we're going to get into it right now. My name is Constantine with Ion Photography. Welcome to my macro photography channel where I like to make little things a big deal. If you are new to the channel, please click that subscribe button down below, ring that bell so that you don't miss a single video. Thank you to those of you who have already subscribed and continue to follow me. Please share these out with your friends and we can help grow this channel a little bit. At some point in your macro photography career and progression as a photographer, you start to acquire a bit of a workspace where you might use dedicated equipment and lighting and so on and so forth to actually do your macro work. You could use things such as memo clips to hold your specimens. You might have some LED lights to light your subject. You might have speed lights. But when it comes to the lighting aspect of things, it's very difficult to continually use light stands because they're big, they're clunky. If you happen to be in a small area like myself, I live in a small apartment, having light stands around is not really very fun. You're tripping over them and putting them away and back and forth can be very, very cumbersome. One time I was looking around YouTube at different videos. I came across a wonderful video by Alan Wall's Photography about how to create a dedicated macro lighting frame. I will link to his video at the end of this so you can see the full progression. Unfortunately, as I started to make the frame, I didn't have my YouTube channel at the time. I hadn't even thought about having a YouTube channel at the time, so I didn't take pictures of my progress while doing this. But I'm going to show you its setup because it's right over here, so let's get into it. And here we are. This is the macro lighting frame. This is designed to provide a lot of flexibility when it comes to lighting your macro subjects. There is a power bar here that is attached to it, which provides outlets for continuous lighting. It also provides outlets for USB lights. Once I get this in there, if I wanted to put in some other lighting. So that's very, very flexible. In addition, there is a light here, which, while it doesn't really provide much lighting for your subject, is really good for some initial lighting so that you can get focus on your subject before turning it off, and then using your whatever lighting you wish to use. You can attach continuous lights to this. You can attach speed lights to this. And this frame is screwed into the board here with some screws and clamps to keep it there nice and solid. We have a lab lifter here, which provides some flexibility in terms of raising and lowering your subject. This particular one, I actually bought the wrong one. I got one that was a little bit too big, but it's okay. And you might not be able to see it on the video, but there are 4 small holes in there where I put the feet so that when this is in, it's nice and solid, it doesn't move. The thing about macro photography is any minute movement can cause a bit of blur in your subject, depending on what you are photographing. If you're photographing something really small, like a pharaoh ant or something along those lines, then that minute movement could be the difference between a sharp photo and a blurry one. Additionally, there is a rail here which allows me to move my camera forward and back, and a Z-flex which will raise and lower my camera. Now I've got this on nice and tight so it doesn't actually move, so it is a little stiff. And then I can just lock it down with this screw here, making it a very nice little setup. Once again, Alan Wall actually does a very good job of describing all the bits and pieces of his frame. This is just my variation of it, and I actually have to do a couple fixes to it because the slider here isn't exactly perfect, so I have to do a couple fixes there. And he goes into a lot of detail, which is tremendous if you are a beginner macro photographer. So once again, I will link to his video at the end of this one. But one of the things that are really important to have are some clamps. Now these clamps are actually by Small Rig. I will put a link to the specific ones in the description at the bottom of this video. I got these particular ones because they come with an additional ball head here, which allows me to move my light around and then clamp it to position so it doesn't move. Instead of just screwing directly into the clamp, which you can also do, this gives me just a little bit more flexibility. And all I did is I got some extra hot shoes, which can then just screw on, and I can attach my flash screw that on, and then clamp it nice and tight, and then that just isn't going anywhere at that point. And it gives me all that nice flexibility. Additionally, because I've got this flash here, I can attach some modifiers to it to light my subject that way. Or I might want to use a grid on my flash here, which I think I will do for the shot I'm going to set up. And these are just inexpensive items that you can get off Amazon to light your subject. I don't necessarily have to use a lab lifter. It's great if I need that. But for what I'm going to do right now, I'll actually just take that out of the way. And I'm going to put my subject in. And these are simple memo clips. You can get them off Amazon or a lot of different sites. They come in different colors, different shapes, different styles. I got these ones because I can clip my subject in quite nicely and then place it where I need it. In my frame. Now this flash here is a wireless flash. I don't need a trigger for it. When I turn it on, I've got a wireless trigger on my camera, which is geared to the same channel as the flash. So when my camera goes off, it lights the subject quite nicely. So for this setup, I'm going to screw this in so it is nice and tight. Put that in. And let's just take a quick gander and make sure I have some good focus. I will adjust the power and direction here a little bit of my flash. That seems to not be as tight as I'd like. go. That's what I want. All right. And I can get a pretty decent image off that. In addition to setting up my flashes, I could, if I so chose, I could drape a background over here, clamp that on so it doesn't move. I can put lights in any spot I like when doing this. So it provides a tremendous amount of flexibility without the need of big light stands or trying to work in a larger area. This keeps things nice and compact. There are feet in the bottom of this so it doesn't move and wobble. And everything is then quite solid and gives me the flexibility I want. Now, if you are photographing insects, dead insects, and you want to do photo stacking, this is a tremendous setup for that kind of photography, and I hope to actually demonstrate some of that in an upcoming video. But this isn't a very difficult thing to build. In fact, it was relatively inexpensive. I think all the parts, including the lighting hardware and power bar and the screws and everything, probably came to about $150 all told, and it was very, very simple to do. So that very quickly is a nice macro lighting frame. If you like this video, please click that subscribe button. Also take a look at my other videos on choosing a macro lens and Alan Wall's video down below. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next time. Remember, in the macro world, you make little things a big deal.